I'm Mungo Darkmatter, and welcome to Dark Matters. Today on Dark Matters, we're going to discuss the top benefits of owning a smartphone. Now, if you already own a smartphone, hopefully this list will give you some other ideas of how you can get more benefits out of your smartphone. And if you don't own a smartphone and are considering buying a smartphone, hopefully these benefits will give you an idea of whether it will be useful or not for you to get a smartphone. So let's start off with the list right away. The first couple of things are the first reasons that people bought smartphones. The first being email. People wanted to be able to access email without carrying a laptop around and wherever they were, and even access email if they're walking along or sitting in their car or driving in their car. And a smartphone can access email. The next reason is contacts. People wanted to be able to carry their contact list with them, phone numbers, addresses, email addresses. You can keep all of that in your smartphone and sync it with your regular contact manager, which is maybe in your email, like there's a contact manager within Outlook, or you might have a separate contact manager. And the benefit of that is if you're out driving around, like if you're in sales and you're driving around and you have some extra time, you can actually look up contacts that are in the area and maybe visit them as well as someone else you had a planned meeting with. The next reason people use smartphones, or the next benefit, is you can have a calendar, and you can sync your calendar from your desktop onto your smartphone. And so you always know where you're supposed to be, what time you're supposed to be there, and you can actually make appointments on your smartphone for like another meeting. If you're at a meeting and you need to schedule the next meeting, you can check your calendar and then put in the new meeting date, and you already have it in your smartphone, and it will sync with your desktop as well. So those first three reasons are like the first primary reasons why people started getting smartphones. The fourth reason is internet access. People wanted to be able to access the internet quickly. The great thing is if you have a question or you need to look something up on the internet, no matter what it is, instead of having to go back to your house or going back to your office or calling someone up who's by a computer to look it up, you can look it up yourself right on the smartphone. The next benefit is that most smartphones now have a GPS built into them. In fact, probably all of them do. I don't know absolutely if all of them do, but my suspicion is 99.9% of them do. And they use GPS for applications, all sorts of applications that you can get as well. But they usually have a GPS application built in. So what happens is you don't need a separate GPS. You've got one in your smartphone. And so if you need to find something, you can use that to locate it. And that kind of leads into the next benefit, which is apps. You could run apps or applications on a smartphone. So a lot of these apps actually integrate with GPS and other features of the smartphone, so they kind of know where you are. So when you ask a question or you're trying to find the nearest restaurant, you don't have to tell the smartphone where you are. It already knows where it is. For example, Starbucks has an application that you can get that will tell you where the nearest Starbucks is to you, and it has a method on there where you scan the screen of the smartphone, which puts up a barcode, and it will take money out of your Starbucks account, which you've prepaid. So that's another nice feature. Now, a lot of companies and a lot of stores and a lot of places you do business with or organizations you might belong to might have an application for your smartphone to do various things or help you do various things that you would normally do with that company or organization, or locate a local store or whatever the company or organization is. They'll have specialized apps for your smartphone. So one thing to always look for is go to the app store for your smartphone and look for company names that you do business with and see if they have their own application. And a lot of times they will kind of advertise they have an application, or they've just put out an application. But these applications are really useful oftentimes if you do frequent business with a particular company. The next benefit of having a smartphone is that you can share data between devices. So you can share data between your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, whatever computer you want. You can share data between different devices now, and one of the devices you can share to is a smartphone. So if you want to share a document so you can access it, so you can read it to reference things, you can do that. You can share various data between devices using even customized applications or special application for a smartphone where you might have another application on your desktop. There's a program called Evernote, which you can use to kind of take notes while you're doing things on your desktop or your laptop, and you can actually share those notes on your smartphone. So if you're doing some sort of research on your desktop and you need to bring up that research on your smartphone so you can access it during a meeting or something, you can do that as well. And then kind of a subset of sharing is there are special devices that share information with smartphones. For example, they have a lot of fitness devices like pedometers and sleep trackers that actually record information to websites wirelessly onto the internet. Well, they often make smartphone applications that will access that data so you can read it through your smartphone instead of just going to your desktop or your laptop, which you might do as well. But that way you can access the information wherever you are, whenever you need to access it or whenever you want to access it. And the final benefit of having smartphones, well, it's not really the final benefit because there are more that I haven't covered, I'm sure. But the final that we're going to go over today are you can read QR codes by getting an application for your smartphone. QR codes are those square graphics that have dots in them, and you see them sometimes on the sides of soda bottles or the sides of soda cups. And a lot of times you'll see them in stores, particularly electronic stores, and they'll be on the label where the price tag and description of a product is, so you can actually take your smartphone and scan that and get information on the product as you're going around and shopping. And so they're using those in various places now, and they're starting to use them in more places. So you've probably seen them and you either know what they are or wondered what they are. Well, they're called QR codes, and you can go to your app store for your smartphone and look up QR code reader and get a reader and actually read those and get information. Basically, it works in conjunction with a website, so if you scan a tag in a store for a product that has one of these codes on it, it will take you to a website and give you a more detailed description of the product and its specifications. Those are the benefits of owning a smartphone, or some of the benefits. The fact that you can run an application on a smartphone means there will be new benefits coming out every day. And you never know what application might come out that will really benefit you. So keep your eye on your app store if you own a smartphone or if you buy a smartphone. The one drawback to having a smartphone is you're going to have to pay extra on your cell phone bill because you have to get a data plan. When you get a data plan for a smartphone, make sure you get a data plan that's unlimited data if you can, or one that you're not going to end up spending extra money on because you went over the data limit and they started charging you a phenomenal amount for it. So be aware of that. But if you really use a smartphone and you use the applications regularly on it, the increase in the amount you have to pay for the data plan is probably well worth the money. I know after I got a smartphone, and I put it off for years and years and years, but after I got one I realized, wow, this thing is great. I can do all sorts of things on it. So I'm using my smartphone constantly. Sometimes even when I'm sitting at a desktop computer, it's easier to use the smartphone to look something up because I have a particular app for it. For example, I have an app that tells me what the weather is or what the forecast is, and it's easier to pick up the smartphone and tap the screen a couple of times and bring that application up than it is to bring a web page up with the weather on it on my PC that I'm sitting at. So it's actually sometimes, even when you're sitting at a PC, the smartphone can be more convenient. I'm Mungo Darkmatter, and this has been Dark Matters, and whatever you do, enjoy technology.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.